The breaking update. This is coming across as a shocking news as far as the former US Secretary has been talking about a possible nuclear attack on India post Balakot strike by Pakistan. So according to Pompeo, has been saying that the incident that occurred on 27th and 28th February 2019 while he was in Hanoi for the US-North Korea summit. And this was his staff spent the night working with both New Delhi and Islamabad to defuse the crisis, because he has been claiming that the then Indian counterpart had apprised him that Pakistan was gearing up for a nuclear attack in the wake of the Balakot surgical strikes, that India is preparing its own escalatory response as well. Pompeo made these remarks in his latest book, actually, that talks about Never Give an Inch, Fighting for America I Love, which had hit the stores as well. So according to Pompeo, he says that the incident that occurred between 27th and 28th of February 2019, while he was in Hanoi and his staff was working to diffuse the tensions between India and Pakistan, and this is right after the Pulwama terror attack. He had been saying that I don't think the world properly knows just how close India and Pakistan rivalry came to spilling over into a nuclear conflagration in February 2019. The truth is, I don't know precisely the answer either. I just know it was too close. So it was in February 2019 where Indian warplanes that had destroyed the Jaish-e-Mohammed training centers in Balakot in Pakistan in retaliation to the Pulwama terror attack that had claimed the lives of over 40 CRPF jawans. We have Rohit with us right now. He's joining us from Washington, D.C. Rohit, good evening. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Yeah, Rohit, if you can tell us exactly what Mr. Mike Pompeo meant by saying that India and Pakistan were very close to a nuclear attack.
So, Mike Pompeo, obviously, he has come back, with this book that he's launching as a precursor to his presidential campaign. And in the book that he's written, Never Give an Inch, he's making a claim where he's basically he's went on to say and written in this book that when we had those attacks and when India did the surgical strike, both New Delhi and Islamabad were concerned about that there could be a nuclear war. And he was basically, asleep. He was in a different country. He was woken by the Indian counterpart, essentially. And I think the Indians told him that the Indians believed that the Pakistanis were preparing for a nuclear weapon. And again, he basically asked India to have a little caution. He went back. He spoke to Pakistani counterparts. He actually spoke to General Bajwa, and the Pakistanis were concerned that India was going to attack the Pakistanis with nuclear weapons. So essentially, what happened was, I think there was a lot going on during those days, and both sides, New Delhi and Islamabad, were concerned about there could be an impending nuclear attack. And I think what Mike Pompeo is writing in this book was that he, in his position, was able to sort that confusion out to ensure that nobody takes any preemptive action that could escalate this into a full-blown nuclear war.
Right, but so, Rohit, how do we understand it? I mean, isn't it an attempt to kind of claim credit, because he's been saying that there was no other nation that could have done what we did that night to avoid a horrible outcome?
Yeah, and I'll tell you something very interesting that he's also written in this book. He's talked about how any time or every time the U.S. would engage with Pakistan, somebody from Prime Minister's office or somebody from the Foreign Ministry would engage the State Department. And again, in this case, Dr. Jaishankar and Mike Pompeo. So again, yes, I think, as I was saying, this is a book that's precursor to his presidential launch. This is a claim made by Mike Pompeo. Now, I think that there probably more needs to be, unearthed about, what was done during that time. But again, if somebody goes by the book, it definitely seems like, Mike Pompeo was at the center of it all.
All right.
He averted a nuclear war between India and Pakistan. All
right. Let me also bring in Srinjoy, my colleague, who's also with us here on the broadcast. Srinjoy, how do we understand it? Because Mike Pompeo, just before the release of his book, says that he was awakened and saying that with all of the diplomacy, the people working on the problem set matter a great deal, at least in the short run, to avoid a possible nuclear war between India and Pakistan.
Well, there have been many when India has felt that Pakistan was close to a nuclear attack. At least 3 or 4 times the Pakistan threatened. But as far as this one is concerned, about Sushma Swaraj calling him up and saying Pakistan is something that is not the public domain. This is the first time we are hearing about this. The only question is, he refers Sushma Swaraj as him. That's the one issue. The other, of course, Sushma Swaraj is no longer here. She passed away some years ago. So we don't know, we wouldn't be able to ask Sushma Swaraj, but it will be important for the Indian government to say whatever it has to say on the subject.
Right,
because
but when it comes to diffusing the situation, did the United States even have any hand in it? I mean, right after the Balakot airstrikes, that was in retaliation to the Pulwama terror attack on part of the Pakistan terrorists. Was US even playing a part in it?
Well, as far as India is concerned, India usually prefers to do bilaterally with Pakistan, and in this case, militarily. But after that, the first thing is the Balakot strike happened, and the post-Balakot strike, the Pakistans planned and tried to execute an airstrike on India. That was foiled. There were some bombs that were dropped that they failed to get anywhere near the target. The important point to note is that as of now, this is the first time we hear of a Pakistan nuclear initiative after Pulwama. Yes, after Balakot, there was an attempt by the Pakistan Air Force, which was foiled. But this is the first time we are hearing of a nuclear initiative, a possible nuclear strike. That Pakistan has spoken about in the past. Pakistan has threatened India at least 3 times. But this is the first time that we are hearing of an incident like this post-Balakot.
All right. We also have Mr. RSN Singh with us. As a defense expert, sir, what is your reading into it? Because, yes, India-Pakistan rivalry is something which is very much known, and right after what happened in Pulwama, retaliatory steps were taken by India. But, sir, could have it has possibly led to a nuclear war, as it is being said by Mike Pompeo, that it was the United States that had diffused the situation?
One thing I can say is that the Balakot strike changed the entire complexion of proxy war. In the first place, Pakistan embarked on the proxy war because it was assured that under the nuclear umbrella, and on one end of the spectrum was the nuclear weapons, and the other end of the spectrum was conventional war. In between, there was a space for proxy war. So they persisted with proxy war, and then this Balakot strike changed the entire complexion and character of the proxy war, and therefore it is possible. It is quite possible that Pakistan then must have been very badly rattled, and because their game was almost up, under the given circumstances. So they may have, that is what Pompeo is saying, and he could be right, he could be wrong, but it is not far-fetched. I can tell you that much.
But, sir, it actually led to Pakistan go in a complete denial mode as well. RSN Singh, sir, thank you very much for joining in. Colonel Virender Thapar is also with us here, sir. Very good morning to you. Right after the Balakot strikes, Pakistan went into a denial mode that something like this never happened on their territory. It was way later when the former Pakistani Prime Minister Imran Khan did admit that it was India that wiped out terror camps. Colonel Thapar, sir?
Okay. Yes, we have no doubt about the terror camp being hit, because our pilot has gone over it, and next day reports from Pakistan were very clear about what has happened over there. Now, to dilute that whole affair by getting commands from here, there and everywhere, it's just not on. It is a military operation that has been conducted, and it has been very well conducted, to say the least. The idea was not so much that huge amount of damage would be done because only a single aircraft has gone. But the most important aspect of this strike was that we've gone and hit a target right into Pakistan. Some people are obfuscating the thing by saying that, it has been, they have hit it in POK. Far from it. It has gone into Pakistan, deep into their territory. So that's how it is. And now, you see, denial for Pakistan is almost an SOP. Everything, whenever it goes wrong, then they will simply deny it. And that's what they are doing now. I mean, they denied even Kargil. You would know that in Kargil they said...
They refused to take back the soldiers' bodies as well, yes.
No, they said that we have not done anything.
Yes.
We have not done anything.